No, not on Facebook Live.
Okay. Then I'll just announce it on our Facebook.
Yeah.
And go ahead. Starting. Yay.
I see it say it's starting now. So
there it is.
Mm-hmm.
We should be good.
We're good. Yeah, we're good. We're good now. All right. Everybody in, everybody can hear everybody.
Yay.
Everybody is good.
All right. Now just
start us off.
Okay, so
no, sorry.
If you decide you want to just
but I just want us to see the chat, so if you can see it from yours, then it's fine.
All right, I restarted it. It was just something with my CPU.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be back.
But you won't be able to hear.
Yep.
Yeah, we're back.
Hey.
All right. That's muted.
What's that?
Let me
You
share.
We're good. It's been shared. What's wrong, Harold?
No. Everything's all right. She's in the room, like going, hi, hello, how are you?
She should have did that when we went live, which is now.
Well, yeah. Well, she's she's like back and forth, busy. Did you want to come in? Did you? Okay. All right. She's gonna be popping in and out.
All right.
So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, let me know when.
Okay.
All right. So everybody can hear everybody, right? Everybody's good. No.
Yes.
No echoes. No other stuff.
Nope,
Everybody straight.
We're all good.
I'm good to go. I'm trying to figure out if I have that. No. I have the Megazord T-shirt. I was like, is that a Megazord? No, it's Voltron. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Voltron shirt.
Yeah.
It's Voltron.
Oh, we got a Voltron shirt. Okay.
Yeah.
We in business now. Okay.
It was one of the Loot Crate ones, so I didn't even remember what it was.
Loot Crate, yes. I got my Megazord T-shirt from Loot Crate as well. Yeah, I stopped Loot Crate. It was bleeding. It was bleeding out the pockets.
Yeah, I signed up when they were doing and then they stopped doing pops, and I had to stop. I couldn't do it anymore.
The Q figs were cute and everything, but then after a while, I was like, nah, it's all right.
You're wearing a Voltron shirt. My girlfriend got me the pop, the big one.
I have the
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I gotta get the actual
small.
Paladins one.
I didn't mean to do that. I just unsubscribed from us.
Well.
I did not mean to do that.
In any case, what's going on, Blerd Nation? Kendrick Grey, the Jet Boy, here with my girlfriend Katanni. Welcome to our special Valentine's. Well, I guess it's a pre-Valentine's live stream.
Yeah.
Because Valentine's is not until next
Thursday,
if I'm not mistaken. But
right.
We didn't want to wait to do it after, so we did it before. So, hey, the boyfriend is joining in. All right, fantastic.
Hey.
And as the title of this GeekCast suggests, this GeekCast is about relationships in the Blerd universe. Well, Blerd universe. Amongst us Blerds and stuff. So, of course, you got Matthew B. Haynes, the clock master, along with his lady friend. Introduce yourselves, please.
Hi, Shannon.
We got our newest friend, Josie, along with her boyfriend.
Kevin, hey, how you doing?
And please understand, Harold is not riding solo this one. There's they got some things going on.
It's like his girlfriend is in the background working.
Yeah, she's handling business.
Yeah, so that is always okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
And shouts out to our fellow cast member Kim, who couldn't make it, and her boyfriend as well. So yeah, who says Blerds don't have relationships? We're all in one.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So we just want to talk about, the relationship aspect of being a geek or a nerd, because all of us who've grown up living this lifestyle, we've always been kind of fed this whole stigma that it's very hard to find love or being in a relationship while being a geek or a nerd. And the truth is, that's not true. That is
True.
completely far from the truth, and a lot of people don't realize it. What people don't seem to understand is you have to be able to find someone who shares, or at least understands,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
I guess the lifestyle that you like. And I hate to use the word lifestyle, but
It's true though.
You know.
It's true. It's true.
you know, it is what it is.
Uh-huh.
And all of us here in front of this camera are testaments to that, that claim.
Mhm.
All right. And then I'll be right with you guys because I'm just sharing to all of our outlets.
This GeekCast isn't going to be like our other ones where it's like super formal, like there's a structure. This is kind of a open forum
Yeah.
type of GeekCast. So, the floor is going to be open to anyone who has questions. Maybe you're one of those, geeks or nerds that are still having trouble trying to, get into a relationship, or maybe there's someone you like.
I'm still struggling, man.
What?
Yeah, no, I just hired her for the live stream. Yeah.
She's gonna kill you later, right?
Yeah. My lady is, I would say, just very, very supportive. She understands what I do. She, as far as the YouTubing thing, and she's been very, very supportive. Helped me get a lot of the things that I have, equipment wise, and the one thing that we do share is the fact that we both enjoy Star Wars very much. And when she told me that, I mean, listen, everybody, all fellas, our ladies are wonderful and they're beautiful. But I mean, when I first met her, when I first saw her at Penn Station, I mean, and I'm just speaking like a man, so excuse me while I just get gully. She walked in. I already saw pictures. And I was like, and her name is Rouge Rose. And at first I thought that she was a cosplayer because I'm surrounded by cosplayers with these, these fancy names. And I didn't see not one picture of her in cosplay at all. And then come to find out that she was an actress, aspiring actress. And then when she told me that she enjoyed Star Wars, I was like, really? And then I meet her over at Penn Station. And she walks up to me, and here comes this fine.
Well, explaining that it's Newark.
Newark.
Can she hear you in the
I
background?
get a little too excited now.
She came all the way over from. She came all the way over from Howard Beach to come, and she was living in Howard Beach at that time, and she came all the way over to see me. And she comes over. She's the very curvaceous, gorgeous. Whoa, and she says she likes Star Wars. What? I was like, I was like, yo, and she understands pretty much, what I enjoy. She don't go into it like, how we do, but she's very supportive. She enjoys she's into video games. She understands that I love retro gaming. And she bought me the Atari Flashback 9, and I downloaded all these homebrews and everything, thousands of Atari games I have. I downloaded onto an SD card, so you could pretty much tell that this lady right here, we went, never in my life, and I'm gonna shut up because I'm running on caffeine and love. Having this woman sit next to me. Now you can say what you want about The Last Jedi, all right, but I think what made The Last Jedi really, really cool for me was the fact that I was sitting next to somebody enjoying it. Because usually, you know how we geeks are, we roll solo, or our fellas, and we're watching Star Wars like either by ourselves or with our fellas and everything. Mm-hmm. I'm looking next to me, I'm like, I got somebody sitting next to me watching some damn Star Wars. What? So basically, from what I just said, you can understand how much of a blessing it is.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And how long you guys have been together?
We're going on 2 years.
Okay.
Almost 2 years, and she and I, we just click with a lot of things, and come to find out that our first exposure to like fantasy film that we remember. She said Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger. I looked at her like, get out!
Wow.
Because I remember my dad. My dad took me to go see Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger, and that was my most vivid memory of my first experiences going to the movies as a kid. And that was her first experience as a kid too, going to see Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger. And I'm like, once again, what? You know, she's fantastic. Okay.
Thank you.
So who wants to go after Harold gushing over rules?
I'll go next. I'll go next just to get out the way. 'Cause I know y'all. Okay. All right. So how you want to do this?
What?
Yeah, because she's gonna check you and every. I like her already.
Okay, so where we start? Okay, let's put it this way. How we met? We met online, and what made me connect with her was when she told me immediately when we started talking. She told me that the name of her dog was Thor.
Nice.
I was like, okay, cause y'all know me already with Thor and like how I am with my stuff. So I'm like, okay. She told me her dog's name was Thor. I was like, okay, all right, we in business. And then she told me her favorite hero was Captain America, and I'm like, all right. Mainly because it's Chris Evans and he's a handsome man. It's nothing because she likes Captain America. That's all it is. It's just Chris Evans.
I saw that go.
Whatever, I take it. So, but we bonded over that, and then she's not as deep as a nerd as I am with like the Marvel stuff, and like but she's very supportive with what I do on YouTube, my career, my nerd. Because when I talk to her about stuff related to Marvel and Star Wars or anything, like I go off, and I'm like in deep, and sometimes she's just like, okay.
You like half an hour at a time.
There you go. So I mean, she, another thing too. She's into Harry Potter, so and I got into Harry Potter, and that's kind of where the connection kind of also cemented as well. We just started talking about Harry Potter and all that kind of stuff like that. It was just a thing, man. And then it just went from there, man. Honestly, it's just, anything you want? Yeah, that's just pretty much just like down the basics of it, really.
Wow.
She's more of a horror person than this, and Ken and Harold will tell you the first time that I went on a date with her, no, the second time that I went on a date with her was at a haunted house, and I was not feeling that, because you know me, I don't really do the haunted house type of stuff. I was scared. Ken was already giving me my eulogy, like he was just like, it was already set.
I was trying to get you to come to my haunted house, the one I work at.
I don't know,
My
but
bad.
That's amazing.
Sorry?
But
I can show you. I can show you pictures of myself looking terrifying. I think I showed Harold. I think I showed Matthew, right?
Yeah, you showed me like one or two stuff that you did. Yeah.
Like when you're in love, you tend to just bite it and just go ahead do it.
It was something new for me. I never did it. I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna just go up there, see what happens. If I die, I die. Whatever.
What?
It was just one of those moments. It's like, you know what, man, it is what it is. If it's time for me to meet the Lord, it's gonna happen. That's just what it is.
All right, man.
It turned out it was more funnier than it was scary. So I ended up having a good time. But
that's how it always is, though.
Yeah, no, that's just how it was, man. But it took me. We're a young couple. We're a fresh couple. We've only been together officially 4 months, and I've known her for 6 months. And it took me 2 months before I wanted to ask her, to be in a relationship with me, because I'm pretty serious about this kind of stuff, and I don't just. The last time I was in a relationship was like over 2.5, 3 years ago. And I took some me time. I was, I'm still young. And I'm like, you know what, let me use this time to kind of figure out who I am.
Yeah.
What I needed. And then I waited 2 months to get to know her properly before I said, you know what, I think I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I just felt that I was ready. She was already claiming me since day one. Me too. I was claiming her too. But yeah, that's just pretty much the lowdown of the story. That's it.
Went off. So
I tried to keep it condensed.
All right. What about our guests?
Josie
Joss.
or Joss?
Yes.
You can start.
Okay. All right. So we met on MySpace.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Aww.
Whoa.
MySpace days.
Long time ago. Long time ago.
And essentially, he, I guess, slid into my DMs.
I did.
Trying to.
Were they called DMs back then? What were they called back then?
Messages.
Inbox.
Yeah,
Messages.
inboxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
Instant message. I am.
It was roll the dice for me because see her profile picture, right? She was sitting like this, so I didn't know what was under this. You know what I mean? So like, I could be anything. So I'm like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, see what happens. I lucked out though. Obviously, I lucked out, but you know.
Well, yeah. Of course.
But it was more like he started trying to talk to me, and I already knew what he wanted, like, you know, date, whatever, all that. But I was just like, nah, let's get to know each other first. So it was a lot of the whole, I see you have anime on your profile. This is the music you listen to. And I was very into like downloading the anime first because I couldn't stand dub like at all. So I was getting fan sub like everything. So it's like introductions of like different animes, trying to get him to watch it, seeing what his feedback is. I'm like, I could really know who you are if you give me the right feedback on an anime. And I'll be like, that was cool. I need something like deeper. So that's where it started. Our first date was to see
V for Vendetta.
Yep.
Nice.
Wow.
V for Vendetta.
14 years of being together.
What?
14.
Has it been 14?
14.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
14 years.
And then, yeah, a lot of it ends up feeling like time just flies by. Like some stuff feels like it was just yesterday, but it was like mad long ago. Like
that's when you know.
Like, oh yeah, you know, that was like last week, right? It was like that movie came out like 10 years ago.
Yeah. We're like in a hyperbolic time chamber right now. It's just like.
Okay, I understand. I understood that reference.
I understood that reference too. OG DBZ fans.
Of course.
Yeah, so then we share as far as nerdiness, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit more nerdy.
She's a little bit more.
He's more gamer, like online gamer.
Yeah.
I'm more anime, manga, like K-pop, J-rock, like all over.
I listen to J-rock. I just don't listen to K.
I know, but I feel like I'm still more full spectrum of. All
Well, y'all got bases covered, like big bases covered. Yeah. one's a gamer, the other one's in the anime and K-pop. Y'all got bases covered.
Definitely like watch more anime than me. I try to balance it out a little bit because some of my friends are like, oh, you watch this show. And it's like you usually like live action shows, and I try to, you know, make sure I watch those, and then I watch anime also, you know. So
it took me like 4 years.
So much shit.
It took like 4 years for him to watch Gurren Lagann.
It did.
And it was one of his friends that suggested it, and then I was like, I told you about this when it first came out, jerk.
Still gives me hell about that.
Yeah, I game too, but it's more like at this point, it's more like puzzle games and like Nintendo stuff because it's just easier. The online culture just annoys me, so it's like I just rather play the story and then be done.
I can understand that. that.
Yeah, I've been trying to get her to play Elder Scrolls Online and stuff, but she's not.
Yeah, it's probably not going to fly too well.
I think that's it. It's the basics. Yeah. We have cats that they're scared of new voices, so they run.
Aw. So then it's us.
I make no bones in letting people know that we met through OkCupid. And this was at a time where a lot more people were starting to come out and say that they met through online dating, but it was still kind of was it a little bit taboo?
I don't think so. I was on there for like on and off for years before that.
I mean, I was on and off too, but there's still kind of a stigma with it, maybe.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Wait. Sorry to interrupt. Just quick. Did all of us meet online?
Yeah, I met Rouge on Facebook, and trust me, it was I was at a point where I didn't want to be bothered either, but just.
Hey, look at his face.
Hey, listen. I went all out. I had a rental car that I rented for going to a con, and I went to try to go see somebody, and we had arranged it, and basically got stood up and catfished, and I was like, you know what? I bought this car to go to the con. I'm gonna cosplay my arse off, and I don't want to be bothered. I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna geek out, and whatever happens. And then this one comes along, and I'm like right on my birthday, she reached out, and during that time, I was a part of something called SnapCon. It was a free photo session, 24-hour photo session that they had downtown Newark for cosplayers, and it just happened that way. Our first date was Alien Covenant. She loves Alien, and as far as anime,
hey, that movie was pretty okay.
I can't judge.
The Michael Fassbender kissing scene kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, that was weird.
But hey.
Yeah, and she's and as far as anime goes, and I'm gonna shut up. We were watching Fist of the North Star, the original one, and she really loved it because I don't think she was like really into anime per se, but when she watched Fist of the North Star, she was like, "Oh, I like this."
There we go. There we go. Like but yeah, we met through OkCupid, and I just like her. I've been on and off it, like I don't know for how long, like maybe a few years or so. And of course, like when I first got it, I would just try to keep it real simple, like not give too much away. But then after
he
a while,
wrote 100 things about him and he numbered it.
But
Don't listen to him.
No, that's when me and you met. Before that, everything was normal. But I ultimately decided, because beforehand, the geek side of me, only a few people know about that I was in a relationship with. Not too many people knew about it.
Right.
But at the time, I just said, screw it. And I just laid everything about myself out. I said, why are we going to beat around the bush? I'm going to let you know up front. If you like it, cool. If you don't, you can,
there you go.
Somewhere else. And then she came into the picture. And I guess the honesty in that kind of was refreshing, because let's be real, online dating is still scary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's still scary.
Now you got discretion.
I haven't been on OkCupid since we met, but I've been hearing stories that it's probably maybe gotten worse.
Yeah.
As far as creepers.
And I've told him my fair share of my own personal creeper stories. So when he and I met, I had just got out of like a really short, like, I can't even say relationship. It wasn't even long enough to even be called that. But so when I decided to reactivate my account, I was just like, whatever. And I wasn't even trying to talk to anybody. I was just kind of on there, just being my sarcastic, like, I guess, bitchy self. And I don't know what I thought I wanted, but all of that seems to be so stupid now when I think about it, because I always I remember two things I remember on my profile. I remember saying, don't message me and just say hi. I don't know if you want, I don't know if I wanted some type of philosophical, like, sonnet written to me. And then so when Ken hits me up, all he says is hello. And I'm like, whatever. And then I told him this, so it's okay to tell you guys this now. And then I look through his profile and I see his novel that he wrote about himself. And then I said, all right, he has dreads, whatever. I'm not a fan of dreads. And one of the things he wrote was like, no car. I'm like, ugh, whatever. And all these minuses.
Hey, he keeping it real. Keeping 100.
All these minuses in my head, and then for some reason I answered him anyway. And then we just began talking like we knew each other for years. Like the conversation just was, it wasn't like we were learning about each other, but it was just kind of like, information about ourselves and like, getting to know each other just kind of slipped into the conversation. And it's like that now, 5 years later. And it was weird. After our first or second conversation, I called my best friend and I said, I think I just met my husband. And she says, and she knew like my dating history, and she's like, okay. I was like, no, I'm serious this time. And yeah, that's what happened. But here's another thing I told everybody, because being the nerd that I am, I was looking at the algorithm of OkCupid. I don't know if you guys use that. I don't know if you guys use that dating app, but they base their compatibility based on how many questions you answer and how you answer the questions, and they give you a compatibility rating. So I told him that I would not give him my number because I told him about my dating history and about like all the creepers I met. So I told him I would not give him my number unless one, I have two things. I have to answer just as many questions as he did, because he answered a lot and I only answered a couple of hundred. And two, it has to be a ridiculously high compatibility rating. And if you get those, if I get those two things, then I'll give you my number.
Oh,
so
man.
He's like, how high are we talking? I said like 95% or better.
Jesus Christ.
Dad, you really went technical.
Yeah, so because he answered so many questions and I didn't answer as many, I knew the algorithm was skewed. So I said, I was like, you don't answer any more questions. I will answer as many questions as you to get the same number as you. And if we have a high compatibility rating, then I'll give you my number. So we talked through the app for about 2 weeks until I answered all the questions. And I think at the end, it was like 96 or 97% compatibility.
It was really up there. It was really up.
He couldn't change his answer either. It tells you if you change your answer, if they change their answer. So I said, I know if you change your answer, don't change it.
Right.
I was about to ask if you changed the answer.
And they don't. And also, I don't think it's OkCupid's changed now, but back then, I don't think they didn't reveal their answer until you answered it. So it's not like you can match them on purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
Like at that point, I just said screw it. Like I said, I just said screw it. Like,
yeah, I don't think you ever told me how you felt when I asked you that.
About what? About the questions?
Did you think I was crazy? Because some people thought I was crazy.
No, I didn't.
No, you're just very precise and technical about what you want.
I mean, thinking about it now, I didn't realize like literally when I went on OkCupid, if I wasn't searching, I was answering questions because I was bored.
And I stand by my method because two of my best friends also met their significant others using my method. And one's married. They've been married for 4 years, and they were together 3 years before that. And then the other one, no, not married 4 years. They got together around almost around the same, a little bit after he and I did. I'm off. And then my other best friend, who's been with her boyfriend for 2 years, she used the exact same method, and she's never been happier. So I stand by my method. I may write a book.
There you go. All right.
After the OkCupid thing, I just said, you know something? Online dating is okay. It's actually not as bad as people make it out to be. You just got to figure. At the end of the day, and this goes out to everyone who's watching, you have to figure out exactly who and what you're looking for, because I think what happens a lot, and this even goes outside of anyone who's a geek or a nerd. People are just sitting there hoping a lot, and this even goes outside of.
I didn't know my thing was on.
People are just hoping to luck into a relationship instead of actually trying to work a relationship to make it happen. If that makes any sense, it's like they're standing there. I'm like, I hope this person likes me. I hope this person understands the things that I'm into. Whereas like They're not going to know that unless you tell them, first of all.
Right.
And secondly, which we're going to get into a little bit later, you're not making yourself, relationship viable, I guess, because, I mean, yes, there's always going to be that fear of, trying to find someone, either getting rejected, or the flip side, actually meeting someone that actually likes you, and now you don't know what to do because you spent so much time beating yourself down as like saying, I'm never going to get into a relationship or something like that.
That's the best position to be in, actually, because you're fresh. What you have to just do is be receptive and open. Sometimes obtaining love doesn't take so much searching, really. Sometimes it just happens because I was not expecting Rouge to contact me. All I know is that I got a message on Facebook, and then I saw the picture. I was like, this woman don't like me. Get out of here.
That's literally what I said, too. I said the same exact thing.
Yeah, she
same boat.
I thought. I mean, at first I was like, I wasn't sure. I thought that she might have been one of them bots because those fake accounts, with the models and everything. And I see this face. I'm like, get out of here. Yeah. All right. We're gonna meet. Maybe it probably and it's gonna last for like maybe like a little while, and then. But we're still together, and we're smiling at each other and laughing like we just met yesterday. Actually, to tell you the truth, even though it's going on 2 years, damn, it feels much longer.
I have a question though. One thing I've noticed as far as in the community, why is it that, like what you say, like you couldn't believe that this person liked you? Why do all of us seem to lack confidence? I don't really understand.
It's not so much the lacking confidence. It's like you're used to, for a long time, the stigma has been money, job, car, have it really, really super going on, having, just being set, because I was far from set. So it wasn't so much me not thinking bad about myself. I was fine. Like I said, I had been through that situation where I got stood up, and even before that, I had an issue. And before that, I couldn't win for losing. I just made up my mind. I rolled up my sleeves, put on my costume, and said, you know what? I'm Luke Cage. Bump y'all. So I just started cosplaying and didn't care. I after a while, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna go to the gym. I let me like me for a change and get into myself and enjoy myself. Heck, when I got divorced like years ago, I bought myself a post-divorce victory package. I bought some things from ThinkGeek.com. I bought the Darth Vader lightsaber, the one with the removable blade. I bought a Star Wars mug. And what else did I get? I got something else. I can't remember what I got. But anyway, I treated myself. And I was just like, I'm just going to do me. I'm going to be me. I'm not going to try to be anybody else but me. And if somebody likes me, fine. If they don't, fine. And then when I let go, that's when it happened.
Yeah. For me, it was definitely partially a lot to do with a lack of confidence. Or, I can't even say lack of confidence. Just mainly what was just embroidered in my brain as like, you know what? I'm comfortable. Like, it's a weird mentality, and I kind of broke. I started to break out of it, but I got to the point where I said, you know what? I'm ugly, and I'm proud to be ugly. I don't care. And I was just like, I'm just proud being ugly. I'm like, I don't even care no more. I'm like, I'm not even trying to convince myself I'm handsome. I'm ugly, and I don't care. And I had to change the way that I thought, but that's kind of what got me through a lot of depression and stuff, because I used to be really depressed and a lot of anxiety and stuff when I was like a younger teenager. And I just had no confidence in myself. I just thought I was ugly. I just didn't care, no matter who told me anything. And by the time I got to the point when I met her, like I said, I was at a point where I just didn't care what people thought about me in general. So I was like, whatever. But then I was just on. We met on Bumble, where it's like, the site where like the girl has to text you first and all that.
Yeah.
That's how we met. And I was like, you know what? Let me just hop. I'm like, you know what? A lot of people get in online relationships. Let me see if this thing works. I don't know. I'm just bored. Let's just see if I actually meet someone. And I met a couple people. Some people were weird. Some people were potheads. Some people was, I met some weird people.
Yeah.
But then, she texted me, and then I was like, this person actually. At first, I was like, nah, she don't think I'm attractive. She's only trying to, I'm like, oh, she's trying to date a black guy just to see what it's like to date a black guy. I'm like, nah, she ain't really like me. But then, like I said, as we talked and stuff, and when we met each other, a lot of people don't know she lives 2 hours away from me. So,
wow.
Yeah, she lives 2 hours away from me, and we make her work. We see each other every week, and sometimes I go by her, she comes by me. We make it work. But remember the first time I had to drive.
See each other more than we can see each other now.
I was telling her that I'm like, you guys have been so busy that y'all barely got to see each other. But when we met, I drove up there, and I'm like, man, what am I doing? Why am I driving 2 hours to see someone I don't know yet? I'm like, but you know what? Let me do it. Let's see what happens. That's what I just had the whole, mentality. Let me just see what happens. And then we're here now, and it feels, even though it is still a small amount of time, it's both long and short at the same time. It's like when you think about approaching 6 months, you're like, that's long, but it's short at the same time. But it's long, but it's short. And it's like, but yeah, definitely a mixture of the lack of confidence, and I mean, definitely meeting her has definitely changed me in a good way. Whereas there's a lot more things I'm doing, things I'm trying. Me as a person, I think I've been a better person since I met her. So it definitely is a good, but the lack of confidence stuff with being a geek. I got so many friends in the geek community that they just think because of their nerdiness or because they're a certain height or a certain weight, they just don't feel confident. And I think people are more or less confident now than they were, let's say, 10, 14 years ago.
Yeah,
I feel like people were more confident back then than they are now. There's so much standards right now, especially social media. You scroll on a feed, you see a bodybuilder, you see this, the guy has more money than you.
Everybody winning.
Exactly. Everybody winning, I'm not winning. What's going on? So I feel like it's just that comparison of the times, especially too, because I'm not from this country. I remember when I was back home from where I was originally born. When I was home, I was pretty confident as a young kid. I was 10 years old. I was confident as a 10-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, there's people around me. I was proud of who I was. Then I came to the United States and I got more exposed to certain stuff. I started to lose that confidence. And it was both a good and a bad thing. Just me being exposed to, the internet and seeing people around me, people that look different than me. And I'm just like, man, like, I just went through a whole period of just like, depression and all that. So I definitely think it has a lot to do with the time too.
See, the reason why I had asked that question is because I've noticed that when a person isn't confident, that people can sense that. Whether if you say anything or not, people can kind of sense that. So whether if, like, you try to deal with somebody, kind of it's kind of weird because they sense that you don't really have any confidence in yourself. So regardless of, like, I figure, like, regardless of your situation, whatever like that, no one's perfect. So, like, you come out there, you bring the best that you can be, then everybody's not for everybody. You know what I mean? All because this one girl and this one person don't like you doesn't mean that no one's gonna like you.
You know what I found?
What?
You know what I found? I found, looking back now, is like at that time I was in the midst of doing a show called, it was called The Zone, and it was filmed at a local comic book shop. So at that time I was so focused, and I think that's a key, that when I got focused and I just said, you know what, I'm going to embrace myself as a geek that I am and everything. I'm not going to think about anybody else. I think that was also a factor too in meeting Rouge, because I said, you know what, when you have a passion, when you have a focus, and it makes you feel good about yourself, and you're building something, you're saying, yeah, you know what, I have a show, I feel good about myself, and then it shines. It was like, it's either I meet somebody or I don't meet somebody. At least I have something that I'm doing, and I feel proud of it, and then it shows.
Go ahead.
I tell people all the time, the thing that attracted me to the most, well, I mean, this was over time because you have to, realize that the thing that attracts me the most to Ken is his confidence and his security in himself. I tell people all the time, I mean, I am not a crier. I'm pretty sarcastic. I say mad inappropriate stuff all the time, and I even was telling him about a situation that happened yesterday, and I ended it off with saying I really don't have time to cater to the male ego. Like I don't, and I feel secure, and because I felt like in the past, like I've always had to walk on eggshells and try to say like, oh, is this going to hurt this person's feelings? And even though in my mind what I said wasn't even really that bad, if I'm being downright disrespectful, then first of all, I'm not really trying to do that. And second, if I did cross a line, he'd tell me. But yeah, just certain things like with my sarcasm and things like that, and people in the past would get upset, and I'm like, all right, I don't need anybody who cries more than I do, and I don't cry much, so you already have to lower the bar. So that is the biggest thing about Ken. He is so secure and so okay with himself.
I see how you guys are mentioning, like, I'm actually curious now. What besides my gorgeous appearance? What did you see? Was it like confidence, not confidence? I never even asked that question.
I don't even know. I was just going through and I saw you. I'm like, oh, okay.
When you met me, we started speaking.
I told my friend I didn't even know if this is gonna last. Yeah. Like, I'm just talking to this dude, like, it's whatever.
I didn't even think it was gonna last you, to be honest. I'd give it a week. See what happens.
Yeah, sound like me.
I'm like, let's see what happens, man. I'm like, let's see what happens, man. But I don't know. I feel like I was pretty confident. I acted like I was confident at least. I feel like I was. Now, I mean, because I'm actually like happy you brought up that question, because that's not something I really thought about. I never thought about like the confidence aspect. I was just like, I'm going there, I'm gonna be me. And I remember since day one, I didn't tell her I was a YouTuber at first.
Yeah, I know.
Because before we met, I think we spoke like 2 weeks online before we met in person. And then I was like, let me not tell her, because the last girl I spoke to, I told her that I was a YouTuber. I showed her how much subscribers I had. And she's like, oh, you have a lot of subscribers. Ooh. And then she was all kind of thirsty about it. I'm like, nah, man, I don't know if she's going to be the one. And then I was like, nah, bump this. I was like, no.
The thing about that is,
she didn't do that, though. The girl before
on
you.
your profile, it said that you were...
Wait, it said that?
Yeah, it did say that.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even know. But people put YouTuber on there, and sometimes they're not even, like,
yeah, but you kind of seemed like it.
I kind of seemed like it?
You had, like, the mentality.
Oh, man, I ain't even know.
You up first. That's what you did.
I didn't even know, but like, I mean, I just felt like I told her all the stuff I liked. I made sure that she knew that I was a nerd, hands down. I even put in my bio that I was a nerd. I was like, I'm just putting it out there.
There's no surprise, yeah.
No surprise. Like, you need to know what you're getting into, and like, same thing with her. Like, she's a big horror freak, and that's something that's new to me. Like, I'm not really a huge fan of that. And then, like, that was a world that was just open to me. So I'm like, if I gotta accept her for what she likes, if she's gonna accept me for what I like.
Right.
So it's just
and that's the biggest thing when at the end of the day, when it comes down to this, especially being a geek or a nerd, I think so many people are still kind of afraid. I mean, not so much these days. I mean, like, at least back when we were younger and stuff.
Yeah,
people were like afraid to embrace it. Yeah. There's so many stigmas attached to it. Like, people considered it, being childish if you liked anime or, figures in video games and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, as you get older, you see the type of girls that you may be attracted to, but in your heart of hearts feel that wouldn't be into the things you're into or wouldn't understand the things that you're into.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why I think, people try to downplay their nerdism because they don't think it's going to be accepted,
Right. Let me tell you guys something. I'm going to go way back to middle school and high school. I was the textbook definition of a nerd. You can't tell where I'm sitting, but I'm 5'9". And I was this little skinny beanpole with Coke bottle glasses, like, or like you. I mean, I don't have my glasses. I don't have my glasses with me. I could show you how thick the lens is.
Right.
And did well in school. I went to a private school. I was so skinny, my uniform was too big for me, so it was like falling off me because I had to buy a bigger size to accommodate for my height because the skirts couldn't be too short at my school. And so yes, textbook definition. I never thought I would like even be anywhere near a boy, let alone have a boyfriend. So go back to, I guess, my first relationship, and I think I was like kind of like the female version of what guys go after. What guys say, they go after trophies as like status symbols and everything. So back in middle school and high school, when the quote unquote pretty boys were in, the green eyes, the light skin, the baby hair, like Genuine and things like that.
Those were the pretty boys, apparently.
Yeah, pretty much. And all pretty and dainty looking and things like that.
Prince.
That's
say Prince.
Like, that's who I went to prom with. Like that was my first boyfriend, and like for some reason I felt better about myself because I was with someone who looked like him. And it's weird to even think about that now, because I'm like, why? I understand. I understand why guys think that way, but I don't know. It's just funny to me now to even think about it.
It's pressure to go out and impress. Like if you allow it to be a pressure, because that bar is raised up so high, because it's like, what was that song that came out like in the 80s? It was all about no romance without finance. You got to have a job if you want to be with me. And I looked at myself, and here I am. I'm like, well, I don't have a job, but I have a pretty impressive Star Wars collection. I could work my way up there. That's a start.
It's I think what happens to a lot of us in this community, and I think why a lot of us are still not finding success in relationships, because overthinking. They're still hanging on to that. They're still hanging on to that grade school stigma, which has been, washed away over the past couple of years. And this is something we talked about not years ago, like a while ago, before we even started the Council of the Blerds, because we did a live stream on Facebook talking about, being a black nerd, and a lot.
We went in on that one. That was fun.
And a lot of the things that we talked about was, and this kind of goes into the realm of the toxicity of the nerd universe. Is people.
It was surrounding the whole thing with Childish Gambino and what he said.
And
what did he say?
It was during that time.
When what was it? No, it wasn't. I think it was around.
It was a reaction to what he said.
It was around when This Is America came out, I believe, but it was also people were jumping in on him because the person he was in a relationship with wasn't black.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
A lot of people were, they were going in on it.
Yeah,
right.
And we talked about it because even then, and most likely even still now, geeks and nerds, they create. I'm a firm believer, like you create your own happiness and you create your own demise.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of nerds are prone to doing that. Think about the people you were attracted to back in school. People that looked, well, by your own definition of pretty, gorgeous. Everybody was always surrounding them. They always seem very popular and stuff. And I'm not saying that it's not okay to have a crush on someone who you might deem out of your league, but by your definition, they're out of your league. Right. I mean, you can shoot your shot. Don't get me wrong. Definitely shoot your shot, but not if there's a toxic mindset behind that. I mean, it's like if you get rejected, you're gonna feel this way or feel that way, or you just don't think that person's gonna be into you. How many people I've seen who look like a textbook nerd and end up with someone who looks way gorgeous than them? It's a confidence thing, but it's also like we talked about earlier. It's a belief of like you gotta do you at the end.
I see so many people who I'm like, how did she end up with him? I'm like, what? And like back to the whole like Childish Gambino thing, because that's something I didn't realize myself until I ended up in an interracial relationship. Because for me, the thing was for me, and we talked about this all the time, because like I remember one of the first conversations we had when we started talking was like, you do know like I'm a black man in America, and you being with me is gonna come with some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Just saying, like we still talk about it, and it's like for me, it's never been about.
Okay, we look like mad art here.
I know.
Hella saturated.
Yeah, we gotta fix that.
It's never been about.
I don't know what's going on, man.
It's never been about race for me. It's never been about like I'm trying to date a certain person because she looks a certain way. You know what I mean? Like I've had all types of girls, man. All types of girls. Like high school, I remember I dated a Portuguese girl for one day. I dated an Asian girl. Black girls. All kinds of girls.
High school relationships. The day relationship.
One day relationships. Yeah.
Highlight
like it's when we got in a relationship, because for me, like I said, you could be any race. I care about what you're bringing to the table to me, right? And my family, well, my parents are from South America. I'm from the Caribbean. It's a whole different culture over there when it comes to dating people. So I didn't realize until we got in a relationship how crazy both the nerd community and both the white community and the black community are towards interracial relationships. I didn't realize how all three of them would affect me as a person.
Yeah.
I would tell I'd be walking, we would go on dates, and we would be walking in the place, and people would just be looking, giving me stank faces, both white and black people.
Yeah.
It's like looking at me like, you got the black people like, oh, he betrayed us, he's with them. And you got the white people like, oh, how dare she disrespect herself with this black man? And it's just like, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. You have a real, and even the nerd community too has it. I'm like, man, where do you go?
I was on a date with this guy, who was white, and we were just walking down the street, minding our own business, and kids, they couldn't be no older than 16. Just yelled out like monkey lover to him. And he was about to go ballistic, and I was like, don't. I'm like, just this is what it is. I was like, people suck. I'm like,
what was that restaurant we went to, hon?
Huddle House.
We went to Huddle House in Newark, and we walked in there, and there was just really no excuse because there was nobody in there. And we sat down, and it was like, okay, well, how does this work? Do we have a waitress come over? It was almost as if like they saw us coming and they just went in the back. So I went up to the cashier, and I was like, is somebody gonna come and wait on us? And she was like, yeah, someone's gonna wait on you. And we sat there for like forever, and then when finally someone came, she was already out the door.
Wow.
Already out the door, and it's happened.
I was given a look like, shaking her head look.
Yeah,
like
there were
disappointment. Like, why am I here?
Did you hear that?
Barely,
Yeah, she said they were giving her like the shaking her head look, like why was she there? Now she's Puerto Rican, but from a distance, she looks very Caucasian because her skin is very, very light, and she's been mistaken for Caucasian quite a few times until the Puerto Rican comes out of her and she cusses him out in Spanish.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
So, yeah, it happened. But I was not looking to date outside my race. Like I said, I made myself open.
And that's what I tell people. Because my friends used to, before I met Ken, like my friends used to make fun of me all the time, saying like, "Oh, you're gonna date, like you're gonna marry like a white guy or something like that." I'm like, why do you say that? And I said, I am an equal opportunity dater. I said, I didn't wake up one day and say, let me go date this white guy. I said, I'm single again, I guess. So let's see what's out there. Let's see what's out there. Like I never, in all honesty, I never ever looked at race as a factor in dating.
Right. It was one of those things for me where I was like, at first I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna move. At one point I was like, you know what, man, bump this, man. I'm moving to Kenya. I'm gonna find me a Nubian princess. I'm done. I'm gone. Yeah. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm done with America. I'm done. And then I met her. And then I was like, okay, well, all right, whatever.
I ain't going to Kenya no more. So I'm staying in the States.
I'm gone.
But I think I can definitely say that's one of the pluses of our community is the fact that, a lot of us are so open that we don't really see, race as a factor.
Right.
And, just from the conventions that we've gone to within the past couple of years or so, and just looking at, not only just the couples, but the families, that come to these cons in cosplay, and everything fits just perfectly.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how it's supposed to be. And if people, just like in Hitch, just like when he said, if people just get out of their own way, they'll find exactly what they're looking for.
That's facts.
I love that. And
truth is dating is easy and it's still hard at the same time. And social media doesn't help.
Yeah.
Really, the social media has actually made it worse because now, just like you talked about how you got a lot of bots that are out there that are like,
Sorry.
What?
Getting friend requests from people that look like they're from California, but in their bio they're saying they're from Newark. I'm like, excuse me, but you are not going to be coming at me looking like Paris Hilton and saying that you're from Newark, really?
Look, funny story about that whole. I know someone who was like, they met someone online. This is why a lot of people don't trust these online things, Facebook. And then they met them on Facebook, and they were like, yo, let's video chat. This person, blonde, blue eyes, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, that's not me. This is somebody I know. And then when the person picked up the phone, they were like, hello, I would like you to send me some money, please. It's like, he told me that. He's like, I'm just calling for you to send me some money. I would like some money. I'm like, this person is a catfishing you. They're trying to get you a wire transfer.
7 seasons of catfish will tell you that still happens.
It still happens. As a matter of fact, I thought I was getting catfish with her. I asked her to send me a video or video chat me. I'm like, nah, I ain't trying to get catfish. Send me a video. Send me a picture.
There you go.
And we video chat before we met, and I'm like, all right, okay.
Okay. Good.
I'm like, I ain't trying to catch a case out here, man. Gotta be good.
That brings me up to the another point. As we're all laughing and stuff, everyone has their own level of geek and nerddom. And I can tell you now. I'll tell you right now, comic books, video games, anime. What else? Movies.
Manga.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things that I'm into, and there's a lot of things that she's into that's not always the same as ours, but we always find a common ground on practically almost everything. Cosplay is one of them. Cosplay, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that's another one. Video games, we always find something in common, and I think that just that usually makes any relationship work better. But I think in terms of being in a geek and nerd relationship, that just makes it a whole lot more fun. you know, there's a lot of things that we do separately on our own, which is actually fine also. And I think that's another thing that a lot of people don't seem to understand is that you don't always have to share the same interests. I mean, if you share some, that's good, but it doesn't have to be absolutely everything. You know, I mean, I watch a lot more anime, and she doesn't really watch any. You know, and but we still find a way to enjoy each other. Like, even though she doesn't watch anime, that's not going to stop us from cosplaying as anime one day. Right. You know, that's definitely something down the line.
Tell me what to do.
You know,
I'll wear it.
And it just like it goes back to earlier what we were talking about, like.
Oh, Julia.
And I think that once nerds and geeks get out of their own way and just find, because you'll be surprised how many of the so-called popular people that are out there are probably sitting at home right now playing Fortnite.
Yep.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I want to speak on that too.
Yeah, because wasn't there a meme that was out? They were saying anime was stupid until Michael B. Jordan announced that he liked it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because like, I have friends that went to school with him in Art Thai, and they they swear up and down that he used to bully, like one of them saying like you're crazy, you're like weird because you like anime, but then he came out in public and said I love Dragon Ball Z. So they're like, why were you afraid to embrace it when you're in high school? But then now you're like okay with it. So like one of the big points is just like stop trying to be an image of what you think people's going to be okay.
Yep.
And the second is
the goofy looking back then anyway.
but that's
love you, Michael B. Jordan, but you are.
But Josh, you definitely hit it right on the head, and I think that's always. I mean, I don't think as much as an issue now as it was back when we were in like school. There's like, you know, nerds try to portray this image, you know, that they're not into that stuff, and it's like. I mean,
no, actually,
I didn't get it that much in high school, only because of the type of high school I went to, we were all nerds.
Yeah.
So it's like
I've noticed that we kind of get the reverse now. Like I see people like I see you know what I'm about to say. Like I see like girls be like try to talk to me or whatever like that. You know, even though I'm in a relationship, but they still try to shoot the shot I got. So they've been kind of saying like, oh, I'm into this stuff too. But I'm like. All right, so what you like about this and this? I try to talk to them in depth, like,
questions.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, who's this character from? And they just don't know. They just like kind of like posing. And so like, I've noticed like now it's like a lot of girls pose now to try to, it's very
because
weird
they
how
know these nerds are gonna grow up to be Elon Musk one day.
Exactly.
You're talking about like
we're the ones with the good jobs and the careers we're going, trying to do what we're doing now. So like now it's like nowadays it's like, all right, I'm gonna pretend to be what I believe that this person is like now.
That's exactly what's happening. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So the unrealistic expectation as far as what video game characters or anime characters portray. And then some people that look for that, like they always want those like 15s rather than just settling for the 10 that really exist. And that puts them in that pit of like, I'm never going to find anybody, but you're looking for someone who doesn't exist.
Exactly.
So that's a big thing. We have too many friends that are like, I can never find somebody. We're like, well, what do you want? I want somebody that looks like Lightning from Final Fantasy. I was like, well, you can find somebody later.
Really?
I'll tell you what, draw your Lightning and then give them a name and put them on the wall, or get yourself a picture of Lightning, put them on the pillow, and there you go.
The thing is, you guys, you were talking about being anime fans. I think that's one of the things that got me from stopping watching anime when I was in high school, because in middle school I was catching up with all the weekly Shonen Jump. I was reading Naruto week by week, new chapters, volumes, Dragon Ball Z, watching in depth. I had me and my friends just like straight up anime geek. Every time it was lunchtime or library time, we're in the library, we're reading manga, we're watching anime. And then when I got to high school, people were kind of making fun of it. Oh, you're a nerd, you're a geek, or whatever. I kind of felt that indirect pressure to not associate myself with the nerd community, which I regret myself now because I missed all the seasons of Bleach. Now I gotta rewatch it all, right? I missed so many good anime because of that. But then when I got out of like towards the end of like high school, coming into my, when I became an adult and I started working in New York and stuff, I was like, you know what, man, who cares? I'm gonna get back in. I was still a Marvel nerd. I wasn't ashamed about being a comic book nerd, but I was kind of ashamed being an anime guy. And I just started getting back into anime, and I'm like, now the thing is, nowadays everybody is trying to, like you mentioned earlier, they're trying to be with the wave, and they don't really know much about it because being a nerd now, being an anime nerd is cool. Like being a geek is cool. Like you see supermodels, a supermodel like Michael B. Jordan come out and say, "Yeah, man, I love anime." Everybody's like, "Ooh, this handsome, I love anime. Ooh, let me start getting into anime too." I tell you right now, I bet you right now, if Chris Evans said he's into anime, she's gonna be like, "So Matt, I'm thinking about trying this anime." You see the smile, right? or if Jason Momoa says, "Hey."
Oh, they love Jason Momoa.
Oh man, what? If she said Jason Momoa is reading anime, she's gonna be like, "Well, you see, Matthew, what was that anime you were trying to show me last week?"
And Vin Diesel is heavy. Vin Diesel is heavy into D&D. He has campaigns going on as we speak. He has campaigns going on, and back in the 80s, for me, it was like it was rough, man. Because like, I mean, I'm gonna be how old am I gonna be this year? Come on, Harold, you're not that old.
23.
40. No, I'm gonna be 49. I'm gonna be 49 this year. And coming up in the 80s, man, there was this thing that I was into. There was a laser tag franchise that was really popular in the 80s called Photon. And they were these photon centers that were open up like all across America, almost like McDonald's. And I used to draw. I used to love going to that place. I mean, you had your red team, you had your green team. You wore these helmets and these power packs, and you ran around and you scored points off of each other in this what looks like the inside of a spaceship. It had like lights and effects and everything and music, and it was a big laser tag thing, and it was really cool. And I used to draw. Photon for all on my notebook, and I got ragged about it. Until these guys, and I'll never forget. I went to the Photon Center on Route 22. There used to be one on Route 22 in Carrollwood, and I actually saw the same guys that gave me a hard time about it. And I kind of I was kind of shying away because I didn't want them to really see me. Yeah, but it was too late. They saw me. And I was like, yeah, y'all like it now, don't you? They was like, yeah, it's alright, it's alright, it's fun, it's alright, yeah, it's alright.
KW just asked, the question I have is, can you be a nerd or a geek and still be popular and attractive? I don't know if you missed it. I was like, we were just talking about Michael B. Jordan. I said everybody on the anime train since he came out said he liked anime. And also Rihanna, she never came out and said that she likes anime, but she dresses up as a lot of anime characters. Like a lot of her outfits are reminiscent of anime characters. I'm like, chick didn't make this up.
I think the funniest story with Henry Cavill, and he tells the story a lot, where when he auditioned for the role of Superman, he did the audition, then he went back home. When he got the call from Zack Snyder that he was getting the role, he said he missed the call. Why did he miss the call? He was busy playing World of Warcraft.
Yes, I remember that story. He was playing WoW, man. I remember that.
He's playing World of Warcraft. So then he called. He called him back. When he realized who was calling him, he was like, "Oh crap, I need to call him back." And that's when he found out he was going to be playing Superman. But it's just funny when you hear those type of stories who are like from people who are like full legit nerds, and sometimes
why do you think he was so excited when he got offered the role for Witcher?
I'm so excited.
I'm excited for that, man. Because when I heard that he was doing Witcher, and he was talking about how much he loves, because Henry Cavill, as you mentioned, Ken loves video games. He loves video games, and I found that this man is into MMOs. I'm like, okay, man, this man, and him playing The Witcher. I mean, imagine playing a video game character that you always played, enjoyed your, for a time, or you grew up playing. Like, just imagine actually putting on that. Like, that's like a dream cosplay.
Yeah,
like $100,000 costumes, and makeup work, hair, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just really cool, and just to see, like the question the person asked, like, attractiveness too. I mean, that's a whole different conversation. Really, what I was about to say, so never mind that. But yeah.
I still think attractiveness is subjective. I mean, I could see why other women like him, but I'm like, I guess. I guess because a lot of my friends went to high school with him. It's like, he's that kid from Arts High.
Yeah, he went to school in Newark, right?
Yeah, he went to Arts.
Yeah, I remember that. You went to the art school in Newark.
And then the same thing with Jason Momoa. I see why other women find him attractive, but I guess
it's the same thing for like a lot of like female actors too. It's the same thing. Look, y'all can slander me, but my dad's been married for over 25 years, and he would say this to this day, that Halle Berry is one of the best looking people in the world. I don't really think she's whatever, but I can see why people, especially people who grew up around that time watching her. I was still a kid when I was watching some of her movies coming out, but the young adults at the time when they was watching those movies, I could see why people really think she's that attractive. But for me, I'm just like, Halle Berry.
See, the thing that attracts me, and I tell him the thing with Jason Momoa, I said the thing that attracts me to Jason Momoa is, like, for me, he is the epitome of masculinity. To me.
He's a guy. But then when he talks about guy,
But then when he talks about his wife, when he talks about his wife and his family, he like gushes over them.
Man,
I'm like,
this dude is a whole teddy bear on the inside. I was watching his YouTube channel, and he was he went to go visit his grandmother and his family and his cousins.
I saw that.
And this man is just like, it's like a little geek. I'm like, y'all forget this man on TV is like, couch roco, blah, blah, blah. But like in real life, he's still just like any. And the thing is, a lot of guys are afraid to be sensitive, man. And like I told her, because she got me this Valentine's Day gift. She wants me to open on stream because she thinks I'm gonna cry. And I told her I'm not gonna cry on stream. I'm gonna hold it in. And she's like, "Why?" People. And I told her, I was like, people are not used to see me like in that type of vulnerable type of side. She's seen my vulnerable side, every day.
It's your first Valentine's Day. You gotta do it up.
Man, look, the thing about like men though, in general, men just have this thing where it's like, we gotta be macho in some type of way, whether it's gaming, video, movies, or your knowledge or whatever. You gotta be some type of thing. But we're always afraid to show that. We're always afraid to show that that vulnerable side of us because we're still human beings too.
For me, with Rouge, for me it's like an exact opposite, because I held on to a lot of pain over the years of being rejected, of being hurt, whether it was like a relationship or family or whatever, just trying to find myself. And I found that she and I had a lot in common, a lot of pain, a lot of stuff happened to us and everything. And we found comfort in being vulnerable in front of each other. We were able to just purge out all the garbage and share with each other the similarities of the things that we've had over the years. So I don't have to pretend to be hardcore with her or pretend to be like this hard person. I am who I am. I step up when I have to step up. She steps up when she has to step up, and we're not afraid of like showing our true feelings. We're very transparent with each other, very, very honest with each other, and I'm grateful for that. And we're still even finding things that we have in common, and we're still finding. It's great. Yeah.
Harold, I think you missed this comment from her, so I'm going to read it. She said, as soon as I met Harold, I knew he was my soulmate. Aside from our love of sci-fi and other things we enjoy, it was a spiritual connection that opened the gateway to my heart. Like, oh.
Yeah, well, down.
I can't even speak now. Look at you.
Face hug.
Oh, he got the.
Thanks, honey.
Kay says that if you have mass appeal, most people will say that you're attractive, and if you're a popular, most will not categorize this person as a nerd. But are Michael B. Jordan and Rihanna nerds? I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess given Michael B. Jordan's current track record, I guess he would fall into that category. You figured, Chronicle, Black Panther, what is it, Fahrenheit 451. Well, he's done another sci-fi movie.
They don't face and then she also said they don't face the rejection that most nerds do. Well, the thing is, we don't know that.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't really know that for sure. As far as
we see that all these people want them. We see that all these people want to be with them, and fans like and fans alike. But we don't see them being in a loving or meaningful relationship. Not saying that they haven't been before, but we don't see that. There are a lot of
know their personal lives.
Exactly.
Just a little bit that I've just seen in this industry, and not that I've had the chance to be with anybody on that level, but work with anybody on their level, but just at the level of the people that I've been working with, and even they say, people think that this is totally glamorous all the time, and it's not. People think we're happy all the time, we're not. People think that as many people as many people want to be around them, like they feel alone. Yeah.
Because I mean,
who knows? They could also be happily single.
Yeah.
But you don't know.
I mean, shoot, Michael B. Jordan caught flack early last year for taking a trip to where was he, in Italy or something like that, and apparently he was on a boat with a whole bunch of white girls and stuff, and
I remember that.
Using him that he only dates white girls, and it's like you don't know anything.
It wasn't even his party.
It's like we didn't know anything about his dating life.
The man is in Italy, a country that is 99% Caucasian.
There you go.
So
what do you expect?
and then Rihanna, she don't talk much about her dating life either. Like a lot of people don't seem to understand, and like a lot of these celebrities, unless they're like blatant with it out there and stuff, they don't talk about their personal lives and stuff like that.
I have a question.
They don't need to.
I have a question. I know we kind of touched on it about Childish Gambino and that one about Michael B. Jordan. Why do people get upset when guys have a preference, whether it's white, black, etc., skinny, fat? Like, why do people get upset about that?
It's not a big. I mean, for some people it might be about a preference, but a lot of
I know that, but
what I've seen, and I've seen it more with, or witnessed it more with black men dating white outside of their race than black women dating outside of their race, is that black men seem to want this trophy and they think that black women are not that. And I've seen it a lot. Not like, and I could care less if a black man wants to date a woman who's non-black. But I do have an issue with saying this is why I don't date black women.
I have an issue with that.
Right.
I hear that.
I have an issue. That's the issue. And I see that a lot of black men are dating their white women or non-black women because of that.
Yeah, no, I see. That's the thing. Like when that's one of the annoying things about
talk about that one.
About when I'm going out in public too, and like she tells me, she's like, oh, when we go out, I don't really see anybody else. I'm not focused on anybody else, and I'm starting to do that too, to not care about who's watching me. But the thing is because look, I chose her. At the end of the day, it's between me and her.
Right.
It's between me, her, and God. That's because I'm really it's between me, her, and God. So it really don't matter anybody else outside of that. But
there
the
it
thing
is.
People always look and they assume that I'm only dating her because I fit into that category of that black man that's like, oh, white women are more submissive. And let me tell you this right now, she is not that type of girl.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna put it that way right now. She's not that type of girl. But there's always that stigma that, like what Katanni was saying, that black men only date white girls or Latina girls. I actually heard this complaint. I think Kim mentioned this when we were talking after the stream a couple weeks ago, that a lot of black guys say they like aggressive women, but they only like aggressive women when they're Latina, but they don't like them when they're black. And I'm like, huh, this guys that think like that? And I'm like, you know what, I'm not even surprised. I've been to school with dudes that was like, oh, I only date white girls because black girls are too ratchet. Black girls are too demanding. Black girls are too this. And that's not the truth. You know, every person, I've met white women that are just as demanding, just as, you know, aggressive or weird or crazy. I've met, it's just, it's a personality, man.
Let me tell you something. My white friends tell me I'm too submissive. Okay? I said my white friends tell me I'm too submissive. Or they used to tell me that.
No, I didn't hear what he was saying. My bad.
Oh, no, I was saying, yeah, you're right. Everybody kind of had that same personality archetype. So, like, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Someone in the comment section asked, what do we think about blurred relationships and black love in films? Because sometimes you barely see them, other than Blade and Black Panther. I mean, I'm not gonna. I'll say I've seen my. I think it
depends on the type of movies you watch, because I feel like I see a fairly decent mix of, you know, different relationships.
I mean, you figure a lot of these even speak specifically of like the superhero movies and stuff. You know, love usually doesn't take center focus in them. You know, I mean, and I applaud, you know, a lot of these different movies for trying to add diversity to them. Not to the point where, like, and we've talked about this before, about them changing, like, their race swapping or gender swapping just for the sake of race swapping. Like, if the character was like Nick Fury. Nick Fury was originally a white guy. And I don't think a lot of people remember that Nick Fury was a white guy. You know, and the story about.
But the thing is, I feel like somebody like Nick Fury can be Sam Jackson. You know?
I mean, he was modeled after Sam Jackson.
To be honest, the original, because I did not know Nick Fury was white until I read Infinity Gauntlet. And when I read Infinity Gauntlet, I was like, oh, this man white? I was like, okay, but then the thing is, you have Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. You can't complain with Shaft. You can't complain with you know, Hitman Ball. You can't complain with these dudes. You can't complain with Pulp Fiction. You can't complain with this man. So, like, let him be Nick Fury. I wouldn't actually be mad. Normally, I'm like, you know, if the person is the same race. A matter of fact, like, race swapping, I think I mentioned this when we talked about it. Like, certain characters. But when you're changing the race, I don't really care too much about the changing the race. Depending on the character. If it's a character like Storm.
I think it depends
Storm
on
used to be from
the
Kenya,
character.
and that's one of the things that upset me about X-Men Apocalypse. Storm was from Cairo, Egypt, instead of Kenya. And that bothered
make her lighter.
That bothered me so much because she is from Kenya. And that is supposed to be even though it's Africa, she's supposed to be from Kenya.
Right.
Not Egypt. Even though Egypt is Africa, it's not Kenya. You know, but you know, I mean, the black characters playing white roles or whatever. I mean, the biggest backlash we've seen was Candace Cameron, who plays Iris West.
Candace Patton.
Candace Patton. I said Cameron. I always say that. Candace Patton. Candace Patton. I know when I said Cameron, I was like, I'm thinking of Full House. My bad. Candace Patton, who plays Iris West in the Flash. If any of the Flash fans see me say that right now, they're disowned. But yeah, like her Iris in the comic book, she's white, and they made her a black girl in the show, and she still gets a lot of hate. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things where I don't know. I spoke to her briefly about it. When I did.
I don't think about it too. I don't think about Iris too much because I feel like Felicity gets just as much hate, and she's as blonde as they come.
Yeah.
And
Felicity gets all the hate.
I'm of the mindset where it's like, even when it comes to regards to like movies and the TV shows, it's all about the narrative for me.
Yeah.
If it fits into the narrative, then I'm basically okay with it. It doesn't matter who's what race or who's what gender. It doesn't really matter. As long as it fits into the narrative of the story, I'm good with it.
That's where, and also I feel like a lot of people who are crying are people who don't even know, don't even know or read the comics. Iris aside, because we know that Iris in the comics. Yeah. But think about they were talking about the next Superman. Right. And Michael B. Jordan again. I'm like, Val Zod's Superman is black. Mm. And then Wonder Woman, you could if they bring Nubia in, the hell was that?
Mm.
Anyway,
I don't know.
if they bring Nubia in, and do that. Mm. And then also, there was somebody had this theory. I forgot where I read it or watched it, but Riri becomes Iron Man. They develop that character in the comics, and they say in the MCU, can they have Shuri become the next Iron Man? And I like.
I mean, there's Riri Williams, but she gets a lot of hate too, as a character.
Yeah.
So,
but that's a created character. And that's a character that was created. That's not even swapping. So at that point, you just
because Miles Morales gets more love than her,
mm-hmm.
and gets more love than Riri does, and a lot of people don't like.
But I said I was talking about this with Ken. I'm like, you know what? Some of these people just don't like women.
Yeah. I mean, because Captain Marvel coming up, a lot of people found every reason to not only body shame Brie Larson, but to talk about the fact that we don't want to see a heroine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Exactly.
And so it was the same thing for Wonder Woman too.
All these nerds talking about why they can't find women. I'm like, dude, I'm questioning the fact of whether or not you even like them.
Like them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'll tell you right now. I mean, I don't know much about Captain Marvel, but will I go see the movie? Of course, I'm going to go see the movie. It's Captain Marvel. Yeah. I mean, I got you, Matthew. I got you.
Yeah, same here.
So, but it's like, but I'm like, and just like her, because it's like, just the other day, they dropped the trailer for the Bad Boys spinoff, LA's Finest, which is supposed to star Gabrielle Union and Jessica Alba. And if people remember correctly, Gabrielle Union played the sister of Martin Lawrence's character in Bad Boys 2.
So it's a spinoff.
We're not going to mention any names, but had one person commenting about how he's tired of them gender swapping certain franchises, and we had to explain. And well, she explained to him because I wasn't going to say anything.
I said it's not a gender swap. It wasn't a gender swap. It's a spinoff. And a spinoff, the textbook definition of a spinoff is taking a character from a show or movie that maybe wasn't the star of that show or movie and giving them their own space. And that's what they're doing.
There it is.
Yep. So it's just like, you gotta, and unfortunately, not unfortunately, even especially now in 2019, people are so reactive to something without taking the time to read read up on things or understand something completely before they say something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did that twice this week. I'm like, oops.
So they end
My
up,
bad.
so they end up saying something without taking the time out to fully understand and not realizing that they're going to come out completely wrong.
Right.
You know, like Harold, me and you talked about, you know, the 2016 Ghostbusters in our Ghostbusters video.
Yes.
That's not the reason why the movie failed. The movie failed because the writing was horrible.
The poor writing. Poor
It took me a long time to watch that movie, but I actually thought it was pretty funny.
I laughed in it. I laughed at some of the things in it, but
yeah,
the world doesn't like women.
I haven't seen Ocean's 8. I will give it.
And look, I would say this. I've seen it.
I didn't see Ocean's 8 because I was mad at Ocean's 12 and 13.
Ocean's 12 and 13. Ocean's 13 I thought was pretty good.
I've seen Ocean's 8, and the thing is, I actually like the fact that it was all women leading the show. The problem was the movie was just trash. The writing was just bad. The narrative of it was just horrible. It just starts very abruptly and ends very abruptly. There's no cohesiveness.
And I almost feel like
so it has nothing to do with the fact that they were women. It's just that
I almost feel like people are doing that on purpose just to be like, see, leading ladies, like a movie with leading ladies can't work.
So much potential to be amazing, especially with an all women cast, and not just all women. All the women in that movie were very diverse.
Yeah.
You had Mindy Kaling. You had Rihanna was in there. You had Awkwafina, the Asian girl from Crazy Rich Asians. You had and look, you have Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett, 2 A-list actors, and you gave them such a very poor script. That's the problem I had. They did not utilize Cate Blanchett and Sandra Bullock, these 2 A-list actresses. And so that's really the issue with Ocean 8. It has nothing to do with the fact that they were, it's women taking the show. Like I said, when there were moments when they owned it, and they owned it good.
Yep.
They had Met Gala scenes where they were in like dresses and like they owned the show. But the movie, and like you said, Connie, I really do feel like that's actually what I was thinking too. When I was watching, I'm like, did they intentionally? They're like, okay, we'll give them a female Ocean's 8, but we're just gonna write it poorly, just so people can people can bash it. I really feel like they're
doing that, and then also dumbing down male characters. And we talked about this with Supergirl, dumbing down male characters just to make the females stronger. I'm like, that's insulting.
I am
the inner toxic fan.
He stood
up
straight. He stood up straight.
The inner toxic
hold on, let me get up.
The inner toxic fan comes out when I see the travesty of Superman. You do not dumb down a character to make another person look good. They didn't do that with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Each Spider character had their own skill set, and each of them did their thing. But you do not make Superman look like a uber wimp to make Supergirl look good.
The only thing is, though, Harold, about that, the only reason why I didn't complain too much about it is because, for a fact, I know that Supergirl is stronger than Superman. That has been explained in new iterations of the story. That Supergirl is I think they say 10% stronger than Superman. But Superman has more experience than her, which is why he will always be better than her.
Right.
But the issue is, like you said, Harold, on Supergirl, they took Superman from here, they put him down here.
Yeah,
Supergirl, they put her up here. I'm like, okay, the difference is like this, not like that. And that's one of my issues I had with Elseworlds, man. With Superman, I was like, what are they doing with my boy?
I have my own. I still have to do that joint collaboration video on the things that I would fix for the Elseworlds crossover. We still got to do that. But
I'm worried.
I'm gonna tell you right. I'm gonna tell you.
Don't mess. Do not mess
with the soup, man.
With the S.
But like,
I feel like I need to change my shirt too, man. Hold up.
But like, what they like? I thought it was because and you know what's funny, because I follow John Campia on YouTube, so when he first lost his mind after Superman and Supergirl fought each other and Superman lost, I thought he was just overreacting a little bit. And then I saw Elseworlds, and then it was just like, yeah, we didn't need
It was
to do
on
that.
point.
I'm like, they need to put more of that evil Superman in.
Like we
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
You know, like we didn't need to do that to Superman. And like even with Ghostbusters 2016,
Right.
one shouldn't succeed at the expense of somebody else.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it's like, granted, Chris Hemsworth was hilarious in the movie. I thought he was funny,
Right.
but did he really have to be a dumb blonde? Dumb to the point where it didn't make sense.
Right.
I felt like he just had fun with it, though. I feel like if I was him, I would like to play a stereotypical black guy just for fun. I would straight
He was a sport about it.
Just to troll the whole role. I would do it, dude, just for fun.
You're being a sport about it. He was being a sport about it and everything. He looked like he was having a good time too. I mean, he was grinning from ear to ear. I mean, like, Chris just has that remarkable comic timing about him, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear what she just said? She said if I was in a horror movie, I would die first.
Jesus.
Oh my goodness. And then you show up later.
That's racist, man. That's racist.
True, though.
That's racist, man. I can't.
It's true, yeah.
I don't know why. That's hella racist, bro.
We're gonna go by the formula of horror movies.
Formula for horror. Like, I show up, I'm like, that's why I like Lil Rel in Get Out, because he was just the most typical real life black dude in a horror situation.
Yeah.
I see them like, no, like, leave, get out the house. What you doing?
He says everything
that you wanted to say in your head. I'm like, I see some black guys in movies. I'm like, are you even were you even, like, does your gene even go back to Africa? Like, where like what's happening? Why are you going in the forest? You don't go in the forest.
I am TSA.
TSA.
So,
man.
what's our biggest takeaway? Nerds can find love too.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, we can open the floor up to any more questions and stuff. We give you guys a few more minutes if you guys have any questions that you want to ask. But one thing I will say is this, though, especially to those younger than us that are just now finding their.
I don't know. Is anybody younger than Matthew?
Like, anyone who may watch this later or listen to this later, who's younger than us, like maybe in high school right now, and you're probably in a situation that we were in when we were in high school and trying to find ourselves in our geek and nerd, persona, basically, and trying to find love. It will probably be a little bit easier for you, but there are going to be a few hurdles still that you're going to be jumping through.
Yeah.
Just be yourself.
And
like every time, I mean, and even this goes for even people who are older. I mean, I have a friend who's older than me. She's going through a divorce and she's just started getting back into dating a couple months ago. And, she's texting me, this guy said this, what do I say? I'm like, say what you want. Because first of all, what I say and what you say are going to be different, because I say stuff that's mad off. That scares most men away. So, like, don't even say what I say. Say what you want to say and say how you feel.
Harold, what do you got to say?
Be you. Be you all day.
All day.
Don't compromise who you are in order to please somebody else. And I think that's the reason why Rouge and I are together, is because, like I said earlier, I put everything down. I just said, you know what, bump trying to be like this person and trying to be like that person. Let me work on something. You have to have a passion. You have to be at work on something. You can't, I mean, if you're passionate about video games, yeah, be passionate about it. If you're passionate about writing, be passionate about it. But be passionate about something and be yourself about it, and don't compromise this for that. Like, look, hon, I play video games, and that's how this is me. This is what you got to say. This is me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And on that,
Josh?
I got to transform and roll out.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
All right, Harold.
All
Thanks
right,
for tuning
Harold.
in, bro.
All right, great. This was fun. We got to do a part 2, man.
Yeah, man, that was cool.
Go
A
with that.
post Valentine's Day. Well, the next weekend is Ken's birthday, and then the weekend following is my birthday.
I mean,
And then,
the only thing I can say as the youngest guy here in the group is for anybody who's like still in their teens and stuff, man, because I can still relate to a lot of kids in their teens because I'm not that far off. But
How old are you?
I'm gonna be 22.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, she was older.
I'm about to be 22 in a couple months. In a few months,
You're
actually.
a lot.
Yeah. No, man. That's why I say like I was literally born 6 months after millennial generation ended.
So Harold could be your dad.
Harold could be my father. That's serious. Yeah. But I'm not even ashamed about that, man. I'm young, and it is what it is. That's what it is. I'm young. But I always tell people, because I was talking to a kid here, a subscriber yesterday. We were playing some Fortnite and some games, and he wanted to speak with me, so we were talking, and I get questions all the time like, oh, like how do you deal with like relationships in high school and stuff like that. I can talk about that. I've been in high school. All I can say is for anybody like that is like what everyone is saying, like chill, enjoy being a younger teenager. Because when you're a young adult, that's when when you get to my age as a young adult, you're now starting to transition into that full-on adulthood lifestyle of bills and responsibilities and all sorts of stuff and just hardship, man. Like when you gotta pay bills, that stuff hurts. It hurts. But I always tell people like, just like chill, like enjoy. It's something I would tell myself, and like all the older people when I was a teenager tell me this, and I didn't want to take it to heart until I'm now, becoming an adult myself. I'm like, enjoy being a teenager. Enjoy being in middle school and high school. Enjoy. That's the time when you're gonna figure out what you like. And even when you in your mid to late 20s, sometimes you're still trying to figure out what you like. But it's like, take that time off. Maybe you like this type of person. Maybe you like that type of person. Just have fun with it. Don't put too much. I'm not saying go around and be a horn dog. I'm just saying like, chill out, be fun. Enjoy school, enjoy life, and you'll figure out. Person will come to you. Sometimes, I mean, I got friends that I went to high school with that have been dating since middle school, and they've been married ever since they graduated. Ever since we graduated, they've been married, and they've been married for like 3-4 years now. And they're a young couple. They got a kid on the way. Like they're doing good. So sometimes people they meet their soulmate in high school. It doesn't always happen that way. So just chill out and be, and like everyone else said here, piggyback off what they're saying. Just be yourself and never try to hide who you are, because that's going to help you become more comfortable and find someone who's willing to trust you and be comfortable with you too.
right.
That's just the experience I got at this point in my life. So that's all I can share to anybody like that. Yeah, like Colin said, don't limit yourself and keep an open mind. That's all I can say.
All right.
Joss?
Beating a dead horse. Be yourself. Be accepting of what other people like. You know that everybody's not going to have 100% the same interests. So let the other person like what they like. Don't judge them for it. If anything, you might find out that you end up liking the same thing. If you don't like it, that's cool. Like
That's true.
It's okay to like different things.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I think that about does it for this one. I want to thank everyone who watched and commented. We had a lot of you guys comment some great stuff. This was definitely a great GeekCast that we did today because.
Wait, Ken.
Yeah.
Before we close, I think she wants me to open that gift on stream.
Okay.
Let's see what it is. I'm not gonna cry.
Get the tissues ready. Get the tissues ready.
Ain't no tissues needed here.
See, this is what you do on your first Valentine's Day. When you get to ours, I'm like, it's Valentine's Day? That's coming up.
I'm not crying.
It's already starting.
No. Wait. Did you drop it? Look what she drew.
Hey.
Wait, is that supposed to be me? She drew me as Spider-Man. Oh, shoot.
Hey.
Oh, shoot. It says Spider-Man. Oh, crap. Oh, man. Dude. Let me see. What else, guy? Look at that. Y'all know me already.
Ah, okay.
Y'all know how I be.
Oh, yeah.
I'm holding back tears. It's fine. It is what it is. I ain't gonna cry. Mother, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with?
What?
I don't know. What is supposed to be in here? Let me see. What is this?
Box.
Is it a lunchbox?
Oh.
No, stop. Yo, she literally. Are you kidding me?
What's in the box?
Okay, so she wrote stuff. It's all her pictures from like our first date and everything.
Oh.
She wrote all the stuff we did on the back of it. And she even mentioned the time when she beat me in Mario Kart. Two times in a row, and I'm still pretty. I'm still pretty salty about that. Whatever. It's fine. I'm not gonna cry. I told you. I don't do it. Don't cry. There you go. Wakanda forever.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you. I'm not crying. See, I told you. You can end the stream now. It's fine.
All right.
I don't cry.
With that said, and with that done.
Hold on one second.
Uh-oh.
Let me figure out what's coming next.
So, join us next stream.
We'll be back on the 23rd of February. We'll be back in 2 weeks. And we're going to cover a subject that I know you'll be interested in, Matthew. We're going to be talking about soundtracks and composers. We're going to be talking about that. And this is actually something I'm going to be very interested to talk about, too, because one of the other things I'm a big nerd about, film scores. Film scores, TV scores.
That Aquaman soundtrack, though, man.
Movie soundtracks. I'm a big geek about all that stuff. So I'm going to be very interested to talk about that, too.
And say, KW, I want to see you there, too. Because when I don't know what I'm talking about with music, I need you to check me.
All right. So I want to thank Tani for coming through. We're doing this at my house, of course. So I want to thank her for coming through so we can do this together. I was adamant that every couple did this together. I know Harold had his issue, and Kim. I think Kim's away with her boyfriend anyway. So
yeah.
You know, there's that. And then I want to thank Matthew and his girlfriend for joining us. Nice to finally meet you on camera, but nice to finally meet you. And then, of course, Josh for coming in with her boyfriend. Yeah. Thanks for coming in. You guys are welcome back anytime, of course.
Please come back.
Maybe you'll join us for the next one. You know, because we're not going to just be talking about movies, anime soundtracks, all that stuff. Because right now, I can tell you right now, the
video game soundtracks too, by the way.
That too.
Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Final Fantasy soundtrack, man. Yep. Come on now.
Guilty Gear.
Guilty Gear. Yeah.
The whole thing.
So
yep.
Definitely join us on the 23rd for that, and I think, I know it's going to be fun. You know, going to be talking about composers and stuff.
So until next time.
What happened, Matthew?
No. I don't think I'm gonna be here on the 23rd.
Oh
crap.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Talk about it.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you guys have fun. I don't know where you guys are living, but if you live up here in the north in New Jersey, stay warm because it's windy outside.
Yeah,
it's cold.
It's cold as hell outside. You know.
So, as the council.
As always, the council has spoken. We're out.
Peace.
Peace.